What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where I, Graham G. Matthews, break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network and on Peacock. And today we're talking the latest episode of Raw Talk for July 13th, 2021. Before we even get to Raw Talk from last night, one quick note here. Maybe not exactly quick, but I do want to mention this. The last couple of episodes of Untold and Icons and Broken Skull Sessions that I've wanted to watch and review for like the last month or so now have not happened at all. The WWE Peacock Network schedule, whatever you want to call it, has been fucking terrible since the move to Peacock, specifically lately, because like when they first moved to Peacock, they were still doing Broken Skull Sessions and all the other stuff I just mentioned, Icons, and the episodes were going up on time. Like when they advertised something for a certain day, very rarely did they ever move it or bump it altogether. We now know of 3 different instances in the last month alone where they were advertising stuff literally up until the day they were supposed to drop. And then they changed plans, like either that day or the day before, a week before. It's inexcusable. It happened for the first time with the Nexus stock. That episode of WWE Untold, I believe, was supposed to drop the weekend of TakeOver in Your House, which would have been around the anniversary of the Nexus debut. They dropped it, never mentioned it again. They were still putting up fucking Nexus clips on their Twitter machine and shit, but they weren't offering any update on when we were getting the WWE Untold documentary. We now know, I believe per Mike Johnson, a PW Insider, that they've shelved it indefinitely. There is no new progress being made on that documentary. So I guess it wasn't finished. I don't know why it wouldn't have been finished up until 2 weeks before it was supposed to air. I don't know. You would think that it would already be finished, but apparently not, and they're not going to air it anytime soon, if at all. Hopefully at some point. They have all the footage. Why wouldn't you? But that's really fucking disappointing. Probably about as disappointing as the end and the downfall of the Nexus 10, 11 years ago, but I guess it's only fitting in that respect. But that wasn't the only instance. We were supposed to get the Lex Luger WWE Icons documentary on 4th of July on the exact anniversary when he slammed Yokozuna on the ship and all this other stuff. It made perfect sense to drop on that day, and they didn't do it. The excuse was, we want a stronger lead-in. Well, I don't know. The timing was perfect, and you can't make that excuse for all of this stuff, because again, the Nexus doc was supposed to drop the debut, or it was supposed to premiere, debut, whatever, the day of TakeOver in Your House. That's a pretty strong lead-in. I know the takeovers aren't exactly WWE pay-per-views. Did they drop anything the day of Hell in a Cell? I don't think they did. They might have, and I just don't remember, but I don't remember them dropping... No, it was the Mick Foley doc. Okay, they did the Mick Foley, not doc, but like the Mick Foley Broken Skull Sessions, I'm pretty sure they dropped on Father's Day, the day of Hell in the Cell. So that was good, but the Luger drop, or the Luger doc being dropped for now, was disappointing. Hopefully that comes out soon. We do know the Broken Skull Sessions with Kevin Nash, that was supposed to drop on Sunday of this week. And again, the timing sucks, because it would have been perfect on Sunday with it being NWO week. They're like, let's push it back until Money in the Bank. You didn't fucking think to do that like a week or two before. Why even advertise it? They were literally advertising it until a day before it was supposed to drop on Sunday. That is inexcusable. And it's a shame for me, because I review all this stuff here on the show, and we went from breaking stuff down and not having enough time in the week for me to review all the Peacock and WWE content to having almost nothing to review. The only things I've been reviewing here on Network and Chill now for the last couple of weeks have been Raw Talk and Talking Smack. With Dark Side of the Ring ending for right now until September, I think, I had nothing to review on that front. I watched the China documentary. I reviewed that a few weeks ago. But that's really about it. I do at some point, and they will be a little late, obviously, I do want to go back and watch the A&E biographies that they were airing like 7 or 8 weeks in a row. I haven't watched any of those yet. I'm in the process of watching like the Most Wanted Treasure show first and stuff like that, which are shorter. I'm not reviewing that stuff, but I'm getting through the process of watching those first before I get to the biographies. But it's just infuriating, man. Like, they have all this great content, and I fucking hate the Peacock move. Peacock's layout for the WWE shit is fucking terrible. You can't watch stuff, I don't think, unless they've added the feature, they might have, with the live pay-per-views. After a pay-per-view starts, you can't go back and start from the beginning unless the broadcast is complete. That's annoying. I just fucking hate the Peacock shit. I really, really do. So hopefully they can get this shit straight, and the additional content was really what made this Peacock move worthwhile, because they haven't even added all the classic content yet. That's part of the problem as well. And when you don't add in all the other content they were supposed to be adding, with the 24s and the Untolds, we haven't gotten a new 24 in many, many months. Then it's like, why am I even paying for this shit? Even if it is $5. That's fucking, it's stupid. It's dumb. So, anyway, that's my rant on Peacock. Hopefully they can fix this shit soon. I'm not even going to say, stick around and hear me review Broken Skull Sessions with Kevin Nash on Sunday, because what if they drop it again, which is entirely possible at this point. It's ridiculous. Speaking of, good things coming to an end or bad things coming to an end or whatever, hopefully, this is it for the Thunderdome. Thank God. We had our last Raw inside the Thunderdome last night, which was honestly a bit of a better show than usual. I thought it was solid. Not a great 3 hours of television, but it was solid. Did a decent job of hyping up Sunday's Money in the Bank pay-per-view. And I mentioned that because this was our final Raw talk inside the Thunderdome as well. So, I don't know, a lot like I said with my Talking Smack review, I don't know how they're going to film the show. If it's still going to air live after Raw, maybe backstage, and they used to do Talking Smack live after SmackDown years ago in just a backstage setting. They never used to do it in front of the fans. Maybe they will do it in front of the fans. I don't know. Honestly, Raw Talk could afford to be on Tuesday mornings. I don't know why Talking Smack has to be on Saturday mornings, and they don't even drop until fucking 1 or 2 o'clock anyway, Eastern time. They can afford to have Raw Talk on Tuesday mornings. Or just put Talking Smack live on Friday nights after SmackDown. That's a 2-hour show anyway. Adding a Raw Talk after a 3-hour Raw is a lot to ask of your viewers, But at any rate, we'll see how that plays out. They recap Kevin Patrick and R-Truth, that is. They recap the ending of Raw that saw Bobby Lashley destroy the VIP lounge. Great promo from Lashley. They question if he's gone soft, which hopefully not, and he retains the championship on Sunday. And I like Kofi Kingston, but Lashley, in my opinion, has got to be WWE champion going into SummerSlam, and it only makes sense. They recap Charlotte attacking Rhea Ripley earlier on in the evening and kind of getting the better of her before their Raw Women's Championship rematch at Money in the Bank. R-Truth does not pick a winner, and Kevin Patrick tells him to get off the fence. His pick is Charlotte Flair, which makes sense after how Rhea Ripley acted towards Kevin last week on the show. I can't say I blame him for wanting to pick Charlotte. They also recap Omos' singles in-ring debut on Raw, beating Eric, and how impressive he was. Truth has Viking Raiders winning the Raw Tag Team titles on Sunday, while Kevin Patrick is picking AJ and Omos to retain their championships. It seems like he's going with a lot of the heels. And Kevin Patrick is not a dumb guy, because I would probably pick all the people that he's picking as well. But, yeah, I just thought that was interesting. And yeah, for those wondering, I was kind of curious myself. Maybe they mentioned this on Raw and I just missed it. I thought the Raw Tag Team title match was originally advertised for the Raw after Money in the Bank, the first Raw in front of fans. Apparently not. They bumped it to the pay-per-view itself, so it is happening on Sunday. Very likely because Bianca is not facing Bayley on Sunday, and they need an extra match. That's probably why they just moved it to the pay-per-view. But nonetheless, the first guest they have here on the show is Nikki A.S.H. Don't call her Nikki Cross. Nikki A.S.H. is the new name. They ask her, if you wish you could have any superpower, what would it be? And she says, obviously, she wishes she could fly, so she could just simply fly up the Money in the Bank briefcase and win it easily on Sunday. She's riding a wave of momentum right now, she says, having pinned Asuka on Raw this week in that Fatal 4-Way, also involving Alexa Bliss and Naomi. And it was especially an important victory for her because she pinned last year's Miss Money in the Bank, last year's Money in the Bank winner, which is a big deal. And that was really about it. So actually, before that, they mentioned that R-Truth is no longer the 24/7 champion. How that's relevant, I don't fucking know. Truth gets really, butthurt about that. Just do away with the fucking title, please. And then when they ask for Truth's pick, Kevin says, who are you picking, R-Truth? You always put me on the spot, ask me who I'm picking in each of these matches. Who are you picking to win the women's Money in the Bank ladder match? And he says, and I quote, all y'all. And this was the best part of the episode, because Kevin Patrick gets so annoyed when he says that, because Nikki's celebrating, oh, you picked me. He didn't fucking pick you. What a dumb thing to say. He simply said, all y'all, which means he's picking everyone in the match. He's sitting on the fence and doesn't want to offend anyone. And Kevin Patrick sees through the bullshit and goes, you didn't pick anybody. That means you picked Zelina Vega too, and Nikki doesn't exactly get it. I guess being smart isn't part of being a superhero, but I think she eventually understands, but it's why are you celebrating R-Truth? He didn't pick you. He didn't pick you to win. And then Kevin's doing the all y'all. He's saying that multiple times. And then R-Truth has the audacity to say, "Are you making fun of my accent?" And Kevin goes, "Are you kidding me? Like, you were making fun of my accent for weeks." But I thought that was funny. I'm still where I was 2-3 weeks ago. I still think this Nikki A.S.H. superhero shit is fucking terrible. I think the dialogue that she has is awful on the show. She's not scripted, I don't think, on Raw Talk. I like Nikki Cross, but I don't know. It's just she's just so annoying in this role. Maybe as a heel it might work, maybe. I just found her to be extremely obnoxious. And maybe she seems like a really nice, energetic person in reality, but she's like turning it up to a 12 here on these shows, and she is so fucking annoying. Holy shit. I really hope she doesn't win on Sunday, because I hate this gimmick. I mean, she was annoying before anyway, but she is 10 times more annoying now that she's a superhero. Holy shit, I hated this. The next person they had on the show was Riddle. And Riddle's another one where he was so annoying a couple of months ago, and he probably is still annoying to a lot of people. But what he was doing changed. Like, the Orton stuff makes sense now. He was a fucking idiot, was Riddle before, and he's still kind of a goof now. But again, it's what they've had him doing that's made him more enjoyable and entertaining as a character. So his foot is injured in storyline. He has to keep it elevated through the entire interview here, so he has it up on the desk the entire time. Which that was funny. He talks about Miz and Morrison running over his foot in Miz's wheelchair and kind of thwarting their interference in the Ricochet John Morrison match. He reveals he has not heard from Randy in recent weeks. He's been dodging all of his texts and ghosting him and all this other shit. I have no idea what the update on Randy Orton is. I don't know if he's actually hurt. I haven't heard that. I think it's just a storyline thing where they know Randy won't be in the Money in the Bank ladder match, so they're just kind of keeping him out for right now until after Money in the Bank, so he and Riddle can go for the Raw Tag Team titles at SummerSlam, is my guess. Hopefully he's okay and he is back next week or the week after, because the RK Bro thing has been great, and if he actually did get hurt, that would be terrible timing. He even said, Riddle did, that he filed a missing persons report with the Tampa police because he hasn't heard from Randy. And they were asking him, well, your last name is Riddle, his last name is Orton, you're not brothers. And he said, we're bros. And I thought it was a dumb line, but I thought it was funny. He wants to dedicate his Money in the Bank win on Sunday to Randy Orton and says that looks can be deceiving, although he is injured. You know, he's played this card before in the UFC, he said. He would step inside the octagon and kind of put on a tough man's face and make it seem like he wasn't injured even though he actually was. So, looks can be deceiving, he says. And he says if he does win Money in the Bank, he would cash in on the Raw Tag Team titles. So this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. Riddle, the character, is still very stupid. And he says, I know people would cash in on the WWE title or Universal Championship, but me? Nah, I'm going to cash in on the Raw Tag Team titles because that's the championship that I want to hold with Randy Orton. So, he is dumb. I don't even think you can do that. They didn't disagree with him here. They didn't argue with him on saying, I don't think you could do that. But they've never said that you couldn't cash in on a tag team title or a mid-card championship or something stupid like that. And I get it. I understand that it would be something different, but if you have the opportunity to go for a world championship, I guess maybe it does make some sense, because you know you're not going to beat Bobby Lashley or Roman Reigns, but you know you could beat maybe AJ Styles, who everyone fucking is beating nowadays. Maybe it makes some sense, actually, but I really hope the briefcase at any point is never used for anything but a world championship, because to me that makes no sense. Because they can go for the tag titles anytime they want. You can't always go for the WWE or Universal Championship. So then he calls himself the Little Viper to Orton's Viper, which sounds weird. And then he, Truth, and Kevin all take turns screaming. And it sounds weird when I say it like that, but it was funny when they did it. Kevin's like looking right into the camera, screaming with them. It was just like, maybe not screaming is the right word, but maybe yelling is a better term to use. But I thought that was funny. So Riddle was great here. I thought he was very entertaining. And again, it might be flop with some people. Some people might enjoy the Nikki Cross stuff more than Riddle. Some people might hate the Riddle stuff. I think the Nikki Cross superhero character just sucks. Riddle, although he is still a moron from a storyline standpoint, he can be entertaining, and I thought this was a good segment from him. The last person on the show is Drew McIntyre, who he even jokes he might as well be the new co-host at this point because he's on the show literally every other fucking week. It's like I don't even look forward to him being on Raw Talk anymore because he was literally on the show 2 or 3 weeks ago talking about how he has to win Money in the Bank. He said the exact same shit here. He just kind of added to it a little bit by talking about Jinder Mahal and the whole sword shit and whatever. He says that Jinder was an idiot for bringing his motorcycle to the arena because prized possessions always get broken in WWE, and he wasn't dumb. He knew that it was going to happen eventually. He didn't know it would be Jinder. He didn't know it would be Jinder, but he knew that it might get broken eventually. So some weeks, maybe not all every week, but some weeks he would bring a replica to the arena instead to ensure that his real sword wasn't broken. Even Kevin says, hey, R-Truth, maybe have you thought about carrying around a replica 24/7 championship to not be beaten for it? Which doesn't make any sense because replica or a real championship, if he gets pinned, he still loses the championship. It's not like he doesn't have to defend it if he doesn't have the championship belt. So I thought that was kind of stupid, but I appreciate the attempt from Kevin Patrick to kind of make some sense out of it. Nonetheless, McIntyre recalls his history. He recalls his history with Jinder Mahal from 3MB and how they've always been close, specifically off TV. We haven't seen them really interact at all on WWE TV since both men have been back in the company for the last 4 or 5 years. But they have been close behind the scenes. They always talked. But, McIntyre noticed that Jinder became a little distant from Drew after McIntyre became WWE champion last year. And then he became a lot more distant, and he had to get through Veer and Shanky to talk to Jinder, which I'm not sure how much further that would have gone back because Veer and Shanky only debuted a couple of months ago. So maybe he had Veer and Shanky in his social circle 6 months ago when Jinder still wasn't on the show. I don't know. He even texted Jinder last week after beating him by DQ, telling him, I beat you, ha 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 ha, and next time I see you, I'm going to kick your ass or whatever, which I thought was funny. He says that he absolutely kind of reiterates what he said a few weeks ago. He has to win Money in the Bank, and he wants to win that championship in front of fans. He kind of reflects on the Thunderdome era and the pandemic era of WWE kind of carrying Raw through it, which I completely agree with. He definitely fucking did. He has to win Money in the Bank, and he's got to win that championship back in front of fans. And if he doesn't win Money in the Bank, and he can't go for the championship anymore, at any point in the foreseeable future, as long as Lashley is champion, he doesn't know what the future holds for him if he doesn't win Money in the Bank on Sunday. So it very likely is a feud with Jinder. I hate to even think about that because, yeah, it does make sense, but at SummerSlam, that's a complete waste of Drew. Like, who gives a fuck? And the segments recently have been terrible, so I really hope that's not the SummerSlam match, but it seems like it will be. That was Raw Talk for July 13th, 2021. I thought the Riddle segment was the best part of the show. Nikki Cross is just fucking annoying. The whole Nikki Ash shit. I mean, I like Nikki, but like the whole over-the-top superhero shit is just so obnoxious. I'm sorry. And then the McIntyre stuff, I like McIntyre, but it was really more of the same. It was very repetitive. Not a lot of new information from him aside from the whole Jinder Mahal talk, which is whatever. So, fine episode of Raw Talk this week. Thank you guys for joining me. As always, I appreciate it. Check out all my other Raw Talk reviews down below in the description box on this very video. Be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe for more daily content. We got a Q&A video, hashtag AskGSM, coming up tomorrow. We got WrestleRant radio excerpts coming up on Thursday. The low-key season finale review, very likely coming up on Friday. A Black Widow review coming at some point. Hopefully, if they don't scrap the Broken Skull sessions with Kevin Nash, that review of mine will be coming up, I think, at some point early next week, very likely Monday. I'll be breaking down SmackDown in audio form on Saturday, Talking Smack on Sunday, in addition to maybe another exclusive interview coming here to the channel in the days to come. You're not going to want to miss that. I actually put up my interview with Bailey from last July up here on the channel yesterday. There's a lot of interviews I did last year that have yet to make their way here to the channel and have never been heard before, aside from myself. So you're going to want to hear that. That went up on Monday, so check that out when you get a chance. Have a great one, guys. Enjoy the rest of the week. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.